Okay, last time we were here, we set up our structure. So here is our HTML, and then this is what it looks like afterwards. And now we have to start adding some CSS to it to style it. So I'm going to open up my styles.css page, and I'm going to go ahead and start styling. So I'm going to go ahead and do view, layout, 2 columns, so we can see what we're doing. Move this over here. Oops, didn't want to do that. Alright, there we go. Alright, so I can see my HTML on one side and see my CSS on the other. We don't need to see the head, we just need to see this. Where? Yeah, let's see. So there's the close of the head. Okay, there we go. Alright, so there's my body section. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to style this section right up here. So let's do that with a selector, and the selector we're going to use is nav. Okay, so that's this nav selector right here, and we want to go ahead and we're going to end a background color. So I'll start with background and color, and again I'm going to be using the color navy, but I should be using a hash. It's just harder to because we don't know, unless you memorize the hash codes for colors. All we see is a bunch of numbers and letters. I'd rather see the navy out there for now. But if we're doing this production, then that would have to be a hash number or some other way of representing color digitally rather than using the name. Alright, so I'm going to do File and Save All, and then refresh. And that's what it looks like right there. Alright, so we didn't do much except make it ugly. Okay. So let's go ahead also now and change those links because you can barely see them in that background. So let's do that next. So the selector for that is nav. Okay, so that's the nav section. And then inside the nav section, we have an unordered list, and inside that unordered list we have an LI, and inside that LI we have an anchor tag. So that's how we're going to target it. We could have actually just put A and it would have worked because that's the only place we have anchor tags, but we want to be specific. Makes our code a lot more understandable, and then we also don't have to worry about unforeseen consequences if we put a link somewhere else. So on this one we're just going to change the background color for this. And we're going to make it white. Alright, we'll do File, Save All, and then refresh. Alright, so now we can see the links a little bit better. Alright, so the next thing we want to do now is we don't want them stacked, and we don't want those bullets there. So let's go ahead and also do some more styling. Now, what we want to do is we want to change these LIs, or see, you can see these are all LIs here. We want to take these and put them side by side rather than having them stacked, and they're stacked because they're block level elements. So we need to change that, and we've done that in the past. You can use floats and float them all to the left, and then they'll all stack over. But whenever you're using LIs, navigation like this, the best way to do it is through changing them to inline elements so they no longer take up the entire width of the container. I'm going to move up and move it here because actually we're going to use everything here except the anchor because we want to actually target the LI. So I'm going to say I have a nav. Inside the nav I have an unordered list. Inside that unordered list I have a line item or an LI, and I want to style that. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this from a block level element, which is its default, and say display, and then inline block. Oops. Inline block. Alright, then when I do File and Save All, and then refresh, now they're all stacked side by side nicely. In fact, I'm going to move this over here. I don't think that'll make any difference, but easier for me to switch back and forth. Great. All right, so now we want to go ahead and style that up, make it a little bit more attractive. So let's see what else we can do. One of the things we're going to do is we want to get these white boxes a little bit better formatted. So we're going to add more to our nav ULLILAA. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and add some padding. And we're going to say let's do 10 pixels up and down, and let's do 45 pixels left and right. All right, so we're just going to push out the boxes. We'll do File, Save All, and then refresh. And there we go. So you can see that now they're all nice and spread out, but we have a problem, and that is, well, they didn't get any higher. They just got farther apart. And that's because these the anchor tags are inline elements, not inline block or block, so they can't impact up and down. So we need to change this anchor tag to a block level element. So I'm going to come back up here and add a space. I like putting display at top because that's where we expect to see it, and we're going to change that to a block. And when we do that, we'll see that now the upper and lower padding actually works. Boom. See, so now it's a little bit more attractive. All right, and let's go ahead and make the font a little bit bigger so we can see it better. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change the font size. And for this, we're going to use not going to use pixels. We're going to say 1.5 EM. And EM is the size of the M. So the normal size of that M is that size. And we want to make it half size bigger. So we're going to say instead of 1, which is the default, we're going to make it 1.5, which is a half bigger. All right, we'll do File, Save All, and then refresh. Boom. Okay, so looking a little bit better. All right, so let's go ahead and see what else we can do. What are we doing on time? 7 minutes. All right. Okay, next thing we're going to do is make this nav. So you can see that this is actually pushing out of the nav. So we're going to go ahead and make the nav, this blue section, a little bit bigger. So let's go back up to nav. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it a specific height. And let's make it 80 pixels. That should be nice for that size. File, Save All, and then refresh. There we go. So looking a lot better. All right. So let's do some more. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the body and change the wrapper. All right, so the body is the primary container for everything. So we're going to put that at the very top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that the same color, whoops, as the nav. So I'm going to do background color and make it navy. And we'll do File, Save All, and then refresh. Okay. Wow, see, that looks a lot better now. All right, so now this is looking more like what we saw before. And now, but we don't want the whole thing to be navy. So now we're going to go into our wrapper, which is, so we have body, nav, underneath nav. You can see there's body, nav. Underneath the nav is the wrapper. So we'll go ahead and put that underneath. A lot of times it's right underneath the body because the wrapper contains everything, but here it's not containing the nav. So I'm going to use dot wrapper, because remember wrapper is a class. Right? We use a div with the class of wrapper. And we're going to make it a width of, whoops, add that down. Okay, let's try that again. And we're going to make that a width. And let's just start making it 1300 pixels. Okay, well that didn't do anything. And let's go ahead and change the color too. So background color, then we might be able to see something. And let's make it a light blue. File, save all, refresh. There we go. All right, because we can see now everything is going to be contained within that thing, and then this is going to float above it. And because we're using the same color as the nav and the background, it all looks nice at the very top of the page. All right, well that's good for this one. We'll come back and do some more styling.